damn thing about black people.
Okay, so there was a cue. She banged the podium.
We're human. We like our kids to go to good schools. We love our kids. We never go in those neighborhoods and take people out. Don't do it.
I couldn't hear that banging noise on the TV, but she banged. Yeah, she hit the property. They don't like when you do that. Like, you could bang like your hands like this. It's not going to cause that reaction unless you're known to get violent, right? Someone like me, it'll cause like maybe one marshal to come over and another one to sort of come over. But they're going to be like, calm down and then walk away, right? But like if you bang on the desk or something, they're going to be like, calm down, sir. Like, wait there for a good minute to make sure you calm down.
You don't know a damn thing about black people.
That's another good point. That's another good point, because I'll tell you this. With racism, usually, from what I've seen, it's caused either by just ignorance and being taught generationally. And I've only seen racism literally like twice. And like, I think I've talked about it on here before, where like one person was from Puerto Rico. Before this incident, he didn't really chill with black people. Puerto Rico at this time, and I don't know if they still do, has a big like racial gap between the black-skinned Puerto Ricans and the light-skinned ones. And he was light-skinned. And I guess he got kidnapped, escaped, got shot multiple times in that process. He was a juvenile. Came back the next day, got get back, and then got locked up. And he got out when he turned 18, because that's what happens in Puerto Rico. They will not give a minor, no matter what the crime is, you max out at 18. If you do it again, it's, you know what I'm saying? But that's how. And another one was this kid Ricky. I used to live with out in Milford, Connecticut. I never even been to Milford in the metro area. I didn't know this about him at the time. I didn't know this about him until I was just in prison with him. I guess his uncle was the founder of some shit out here called the Bows. To put it in perspective, right? On the state of Connecticut's DOC, the mandatory orientation videos, right? There's one that has to do with STDs, one that has to do with HIV, there's one that has to do with MRSA, there's one that has to do with PREA, and then there's one that's SRG group designations. In the state of Connecticut, that is on our SRG group designations. Like that and the Solitos are like the only like local movements to come out of Connecticut. No, I'm lying. They're not. There was most of the ones on the SRG DVD that I'm talking about were local. 20 Love was on it. Nation was on it. Solitos was on it. Bose was on it. I'm pretty sure the only national shit that was on it, like they didn't have ABs on it. They didn't have ANs on it. They didn't have none of that. They didn't even have Crips and Bloods on it. I think the only nationwide shit, because at this time, Connecticut doesn't have a gang problem. I think that's the only reason, like, the only national thing on it was the Latin Kings. Because, like, there have been little, like, there's, like, a group called, no joke, was it the Island Brothers? It might have been the Island, no, because it was the Island Brothers was beefing with from the spot before there was a Crip side and Blood side to the jungles in New Haven. It was run by some shit called the JBs, the Jungle Boys. Them two were beefing. Yes, it was called the Island Brothers. And if I remember right, they're from Bridgeport. And like for whatever it came out in New Haven, there's been a bunch of these instances where like one hood for whatever reason just goes out to another hood. Like they'll go from Hartford to New Haven. Like, because the way Connecticut is, the cities are the hood. Like, it's not like there is a hood within the city. Connecticut's not big enough. So, one group from one hood will go 2 hours driving to another hood, usually for some type of event. Okay, that's why if you look at where all the rap music happens in Connecticut, unless they're a big artist like Meek Mill's level, and even that got shot up in a spot with 0 crime rate called Wallingford. Like, it's always some shit where it's just a moment and two people just had. That's what Meek Mill's was, according to what happened. It was a moment. Motherfuckers came back when motherfuckers was outside smoking a cigarette. I was right at a different concert. I was right where that shit got banged on smoking a cigarette. It was literally right where everybody goes up to smoke cigarettes at the hotel. but I'm pretty sure was the only nation was the Latin Kings, because they were involved in a very bad beef with the Solitos. That's what got the Solitos that respect. That's honestly kind of why that name means even more to them, because it was like, look, an international organization came for y'all. And y'all made them have their big guy be like, look, okay, we was wrong for this. Let's put the guns down. Nah, we gotta leave these Park Street motherfuckers alone. Ceasefire. Big he did that. Well, 9 Coronas. That's not. I'm trying to be discreet. And if you know like the demographics of New Britain, it like makes it like that much more like, wow, like it's like the movie 300. Like if you look back on how that shit really was, because it's literally like a gang out of a place called Park Street in New Britain. New Britain's not the blackest area. Well, 9 Coronas. Big he did that. I'm trying to be discreet. Like, I mean, we got, put it like this, we got a lot of local Crip sets that like are notorious because they were sort of like how the GKBs were and shit, where they weren't really co-signed at first. Some of them probably still aren't, because that doesn't really go on with Crips, because there's no like united Crip nation. But we have a few of those that are notorious. And just like we have a few, like the Latin Kings, like just for their beef with the Solids. That's what got the Solids so much respect, was they went to head with a national organization and like held their own. But yeah, to put it in a perspective, there's only like 5 or 10 security risk groups it mentions, because this DVD was made when Northern was still the gang block, before they realized, wait, if we put all the gang members in one block, that's a really bad idea, because we'll lose all control over the block, because they will have more structure and unity than we will as here. So the only 5 groups mentioned, keep in mind, I don't even think the Bloods are mentioned. It's all mainly like local shits, except for the Latin Kings. I don't even think they mentioned the Crips. It's the Bows, the Solitos, Elm City. I'm pretty sure they said Nation. I think Nation. Like, I used to meet guys who had been in Nation. Like, there was actually a white boy in Nation. Nation was like, it stopped existing after Father Panic Village, I believe. I don't really understand the full history of it. I just know my big homie Stretch. He knew some shit about it. But anyway, so the only ones mentioned, and like the second one that mentions, is the Bows. Like, you feel what I'm saying? On the like, it was your choice to join a gang. Nobody made you do it. Like DVD that they talk about, where like basically it's the disclaimer for like, listen, if we raise your level to a 5 and you have to phase out before you go home, that's your fault. DVD. And so, like, just generationally, he was ingrained to not like black people. However, with Ricky, and this is why I really don't like about shit he'll do, is like, he acts like he be around New Haven, and he'll purposely try to get black kids, especially, to crash dummy for him. In either case, I think it relates to, was that the first thing you learned or interacted with black people? Was that the first interaction or first thing you heard about black people? Like, because I think that's a big role, because like I said, I've beefed with black people. You see what I'm saying? Like, my biggest ops from the sticks is black. You see what I'm saying? So it's, I mean, obviously that comes with the way that my life is, who my friend group is, that's how it is. But my point being is that despite all the shit any black people may have done to me, it never made me racist. And I think it's because the earliest memory I have of anything to do with black people is me and my mom was at the Brooklyn Zoo, all over the place. Well, all one of them kids, they said I needed a leash. You feel me? Like, and I'm running past all these white folk and all these black folk, but it's mainly black folk. But I know every time it was a white person, they get all uppity and act like I wasn't supposed to be doing that. Like I wasn't supposed to be being a kid. But every time it was a black person, they just be like, oh, watch out, little dude. Like, you feel what I'm saying? It was always like, and then I remember asking my mom in the taxi, I was like, why is black people like nicer than white people? Why are white people so like, just like mean and nasty all the time? I'm like 4 years old, so my mom's like, it's not really like that. I think if your first interaction with black people, or you have never interacted with black people. I think that's what happened with this kid. And you have people teaching you certain things about, you feel what I'm saying? And I think that's why Ricky's the way he is, because despite being taught that before interacting with black people, he interacts with a lot of black people. So I think that's where his mindset, being weird like that, is to a point where it's almost like, I'd rather you just be racist and not do that. It's like worse the fact that you're not just like saying, fuck, I hate black people. You're like, I hate black people, but I'm gonna act like I'm cool with them. And I'm gonna use them in ways that I know are gonna benefit me financially. And probably if they fail, at least they get locked up. And I might think that's funny. He dresses like he's part of the culture. It's weird. You know what I'm saying? He dresses like he's part of the culture, but with like with a bald head. Like, I had no idea this kid was racist till he was in prison. But at the baseline, racism stems from not knowing nothing about the race that you dislike. Whether it's taught to you and reinforced that way, or whether it's through trauma. It was either taught to them, like this is how shit's supposed to be, or it was through trauma, like severe trauma, like, and that was your only interaction with black people. Which, in the case of the generational shit, I think especially with Ricky, like if you look at movies like American History X, which came out around the time the Bows were most active, I could see parallels between the Bows and whatever they call it, the DOC or something, like, and I could even, it's right down to the fact it's an acronym. It's an acronym that spells out sort of a word. Like DOC spells doc. BOWS spells Bows. And I could see it because the Bows started in New Haven. New Haven's mainly blacks. And probably because of one bad interaction, being the only interaction someone had, now he teaches his kids and his, to be racist. It's like what happened in American History X. It's like the exact same shit, just in real life and in Connecticut in the 90s.
Take people out. Don't do it.
Hey, I'm out this bitch. Sorry this had to be a two-part thing. I sort of started one thing and digressed into something else. I think it worked though. I'm out this bitch.